The morning sun shimmered off the hood of a silver Bentley as it pulled up in front of a modest garage at the edge of the city. The shop, Henderson's Auto, was small, the paint fading, but the air inside hummed with determination. William Hart, the 36-year-old CEO of a luxury car company, stepped out of his car with the kind of confidence that came from money and power. He was tall, immaculate, with slicked-back hair and a designer suit that probably cost more than the shop's yearly rent. He looked around with visible disdain. The oil stains, the smell of grease, the sound of hissing air compressors, all beneath him. "Is the mechanic here?" he called out, half amused, half impatient. A few men working nearby froze mid-motion. Then one pointed silently toward a woman crouched under a lifted sedan. She rolled out from beneath it, stood, and wiped her hands on a rag. Her jumpsuit was old, her gloves were torn, and a smear of oil crossed her cheek. But her eyes were steady, sharp, calm, and unafraid. "That'd be me," she said simply. "Name's Maya." William blinked, his face twisting in disbelief before a mocking grin spread across his lips. "You," he said, laughing under his breath. "You're the one I'm supposed to trust with a $400,000 engine? No offense, sweetheart, but this isn't the kind of work for someone like you." His words dripped with arrogance, the last phrase punctuated by a condescending smile. A few of the other mechanics looked down awkwardly. They'd seen this before. Men like him came with insults dressed as jokes. But Maya didn't flinch. She looked at him like she'd seen his kind 1,000 times. "Someone like me?" she repeated softly, folding the rag neatly. "You mean someone who actually knows what she's doing?" That caught him off guard. His smugness flickered for just a second before he chuckled. "You've got attitude, I'll give you that. Tell you what, if you can fix this," he said, patting the Bentley's hood, "I'll marry you myself." His entourage, 3 executives in tailored suits, burst into laughter. The offer wasn't serious, of course. It was a joke, a way to humiliate her in front of everyone. But Maya only tilted her head, the faintest smile touching her lips. "You sure you want to say that in public, Mr. Hart?" she asked calmly. "You might have to keep your word." Her tone wasn't angry, just confident, almost playful. The laughter died down. Something about the way she said it, steady, certain, made even the executives glance at each other uncertainly. William smirked, brushing imaginary dust from his cufflinks. "All right, Maya," he said smoothly. "Let's see what you've got. The best engineers in my company couldn't fix it. Prove me wrong, and I'll—" He paused, flashing that arrogant grin again. "Start planning the wedding." "Deal," she said, wiping her hands and walking past him toward the car. Her boots clicked on the concrete floor. The scent of oil and gasoline filled the air as she lifted the hood, her fingers tracing over the parts like she was reading a familiar story. William watched her, still amused, but somewhere deep down, curiosity began to stir. He didn't know it yet, but this woman, this nobody from a forgotten corner of the city, was about to rewrite everything he thought he knew about power, respect, and skill. As Maya leaned into the engine bay, the afternoon light caught her face. Fierce, determined, unshaken. The shop had gone silent. Even the hum of machines seemed to fade. She took a slow breath, eyes fixed on the engine, and said quietly, "Let's see if this beauty still remembers how to sing." Inside the small, sweltering garage, the rhythmic clang of metal echoed against the walls as Maya worked in silence. Hours had slipped by, and William Hart had long since lost interest in pretending to care. He sat in the corner, scrolling on his phone, one leg crossed over the other, his impatience growing. Every so often he'd glance toward her, expecting to see frustration or defeat. But she never once looked his way. She was buried in the work, sleeves rolled up, forehead glistening, eyes steady as she examined each intricate piece of the Bentley's engine like a surgeon handling a heart. Her hands moved with confidence born from years of experience, not schooling or privilege, but necessity. Her father had taught her this. Every spark plug, every piston, every hum of an engine had a story. He used to tell her, "Engines don't care who you are, Maya. They only respect those who listen." When he passed away, she'd promised herself never to let anyone silence her. Skill, especially not the kind of men who looked at her, the way William just had. The smell of oil and burning rubber filled the air as she replaced a corroded valve and adjusted the timing chain. Sweat dripped down her neck, but she didn't stop, not even when the wrench slipped and sliced her palm open. She just wrapped it in a rag and kept going. Behind her, William's executives whispered to each other. "She's wasting her time," one muttered. "Probably just pretending to fix something," another said with a smirk. But William didn't answer. He was watching her now, though he wouldn't admit it. There was something magnetic about her focus. The way she blocked out everything, even his presence, as if nothing else in the world mattered except the machine before her. When she finally stepped back, it was past sunset. The shop lights buzzed faintly, casting her in a golden glow of dust and metal. The silence was heavy, broken only by the soft tap of her boots as she walked to the driver's side. William straightened, disbelief etched across his face. "You're done?" he asked, half amused, half skeptical. She nodded once, wiping her greasy hands on a rag. "Let's find out if your car still remembers what it was built for." She turned the key. For a heartbeat, there was nothing, just a tense, breathless silence. Then, suddenly, the engine roared to life with a deep, flawless growl that filled the garage and spilled out into the street. It wasn't just running, it was perfect, smooth, powerful, alive. William shot up from his chair, stunned. His executives froze, their jaws slack. One even took a step closer, as if needing to touch the car to believe it. Maya leaned casually against the door, crossing her arms, her face calm but her eyes blazing with quiet pride. "Sounds like it's ready for a long drive," she said softly. William walked toward her slowly, his voice barely audible. "How did you—" He stopped, shaking his head. "That engine's been sitting dead for months. My engineers said it was unsalvageable." Maya shrugged lightly. "Maybe your engineers stopped listening to it." The words hit harder than she knew. For the first time in years, William had no clever reply. The arrogance that usually shielded him faltered, replaced by something he didn't recognize. Humility. He stared at her, really stared, as the hum of the engine echoed between them. Around them, everyone remained silent, watching the moment unfold. The billionaire and the mechanic, two worlds colliding under the same roof of grease and grit. Finally, Maya took the keys, tossed them lightly toward him, and said with a small confident smile, "So, when's the wedding?" The room erupted with laughter and disbelief, but this time it wasn't mocking. It was pure admiration. William caught the keys, eyes locked on her, realizing with an uneasy knot in his chest that the joke he'd made out of arrogance had just become the most humbling moment of his life. A week passed, but William Hart couldn't shake the sound of that engine from his mind, or the image of Maya, standing there with her grease-streaked hands and calm defiance. For a man used to commanding boardrooms and silencing opposition with a single glance, it was disorienting. She had not only proved him wrong, she had done it with dignity, not spite. That unsettled him more than anything. On the 7th morning, his Bentley pulled into the same garage, only this time there was no entourage, no camera-ready smile, no designer arrogance. He wore a plain shirt, jeans, and carried a coffee in each hand. When Maya noticed him, she didn't stop what she was doing. She was bent over an engine, humming softly, her curls tied up, sunlight bouncing off her skin. "Back so soon?" she said without looking up, her tone neutral but edged with amusement. He placed one of the cups on the table near her. "I figured I owed you an apology. And maybe a coffee." She glanced up, her expression unreadable. "Apology for what? For insulting me, for betting your ego on my skill, or for acting like my gender and skin meant I couldn't hold a wrench." Her voice wasn't angry, just direct, the kind of honesty that left no place to hide. William sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "All of it. I was wrong." He met her eyes, and for once there was no charm or pretense. "You didn't just fix my car. You embarrassed every man who ever thought power gave him the right to look down on someone." The garage went quiet. Even the sound of tools paused. Maya studied him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. "You know, I wasn't trying to prove anything to you," she said softly. "I was proving something to myself, That no matter how many people doubt me, I'll never doubt me. He nodded, eyes dropping to the ground. That's something I wish I'd learned earlier, he admitted. Then, as if gathering courage, he added, I didn't just come to say sorry. I came to ask if you'd work with me. She straightened, narrowing her eyes slightly. Work with you? I'm starting a new project, he explained, his voice steady. A technical academy. A place where young people who can't afford college can learn real skills. You'd run it. You'd teach them what you know. I'll fund everything. The proposal hung in the air between them, heavy with sincerity. Maya looked away for a moment, her throat tightening. She had spent years fighting for every scrap of respect, every customer, every chance. Now, the same man who once mocked her was offering a partnership built on equality. You're serious? She asked quietly. As serious as the day you made that Bentley breathe again, he said with a small smile. And before you ask, no, this isn't charity. It's respect. You have something no business degree can teach. Maya turned, pretending to wipe her hands, but her eyes glistened. 50-50? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. 50-50, he confirmed. They shook hands, the warmth of his grip surprising her. For a moment, neither spoke. Outside, the hum of the city blended with the faint purr of a nearby engine, a reminder of how it all began. As he walked toward his car, Maya called after him, Hey, William, you never did answer my question. He turned, puzzled. Which one? She smirked. When's the wedding? He laughed, really laughed this time, and shook his head. Fix my reputation first, he said, then we'll talk. She chuckled, shaking her head, but the look they shared lingered. The kind of look that said some promises are better left unspoken for now. As the Bentley drove away, Maya returned to her workbench, the scent of oil and metal surrounding her once more. But this time, it felt different. The woman, once mocked, had not only earned respect, she'd built a bridge between two worlds with nothing more than her hands, her will, and the roar of an engine that refused to die.